Can you tell I've had entirely too much time on my hands? There's a ton to watch this season, so I've tried to commit myself to not watching bad shows this time around. According to fan numbers, I've missed some good ones in the process, and I've still managed to put about 10 on the list, and I barely had enough time to keep up with that. Maybe it's better this way to help you guys sort through the sevens out there, since you can assume that 8 and higher are pretty solid. So here's a big early in the season subjective list of anime to watch. Or not. Starting at the bottom. Kuma 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 Bear. I've been hipster following this project since it was a web novel, and granted my expectations have been set pretty high by some other adaptations lately, but this one's fallen a little short so far. It's had an odd art style at times that reminds me of 90s Saturday morning cartoons, and I can't decide if that's a decision or a result of budget. I'm also hoping that the narrative, if you want to call it that, stays compelling with how they've been using it, and I'm still going to watch it all the way through. I mean, I've come this far with the IP. Next is Iwakakeru, Sport Climbing Girls. So this is the rock climbing version of Cells at Work, or Non-Kilo. The story doesn't really have to be super deep for it to work as a concept, and it's not. But I already want to find a rock climbing wall once gyms aren't passively trying to kill us all. Following that, Ikebukuro Westgate Park. This series is adaptation inception at this point, and the world that the series exists in, there's a gang that benevolently controls the area, and our main character is trying to keep his home a good place for everybody by working with them and the local police to do some jobs and eliminate some issues. So the episodes are largely non sequitur, minus some recurring characters. So like the impact of everything maybe is a little bit low, which isn't great. Or it's a little boring from episode to episode. This might change though as the series progresses. Higurashi, or the remake, I guess it's technically a remake. So full disclosure, I didn't watch the original, so I'm seeing this with bright eyes, and I'm writing on a clean slate. Apparently small towns are bad for your health, as evidenced in like the literal first 9 seconds of the show. But lowly murder mysteries aren't really my thing, and so I'm just hoping that the pacing is good enough to keep me interested for the 24 episode run that this has, because I'm definitely not afraid to drop this one pretty much as soon as I'm tired with it. Next up is Strike Witches. So this is more main storyline as opposed to the half episode length shorts that we got recently. This is a series that still gets me kind of weird looks every time that I try to explain. Well, so there are these girls with magic powers, and they wear little airplanes on their legs, and then they get into dogfights with alien cube ships that shoot lasers, and one of them uses a sword. Weird looks every time we have this conversation. It's been a bit since we've had a main story season, but it feels like they're using more 3D animation, especially when there's combat involved, and the transitions are noticeable. But that's probably the only major mark. So regardless, if the slice of life war with magical girl genre is for you. So watch it or don't. Haikyuu, to the top second season. So this is like the 5th season of Haikyuu. Not actually counting, but it's been a lot. So I don't have a lot to say other than I don't watch sports anime, and I've watched like 30 hours of these guys play volleyball. So it's pretty on point, and actual people that play amateur and professional volleyball concur. So you should give that a look, starting from the beginning, not starting from this season, or you'll be a little bit confused. Majo de Oyasumi. So demons capture a human princess, and she spends all of her time either sleeping or terrorizing the demons that work in the castle. so she can get things that improve her quality of sleep. The premise is absolutely absurd, but the laughs per minute are way up there. So it's a good comedy and definitely worth a watch. Tonikawa. So in the first episode, there's this guy named NASA. Okay. The show chastises his parents for naming his kid something dumb, and then I feel like immediately personally attacked. And then he gets hit by a truck and then saved by this girl, and now the guy's all doki doki and over this girl, and it's a romance comedy. So there's also a bunch of moonshots and references in there. I haven't read what it's based on, but it feels like it might be based on Princess Kaguya, at least a little bit. But that's completely conjecture on my part. But it's a good show, even though it's absolutely saccharine sweet. After that is Donmachi, the third season. In the first couple minutes of the first episode of the season, the main character finds a monster in the dungeon that is sentient and speaks. And that's abnormal because everybody thinks that monsters are rabid beasts that only exist that kill humans, right? You know, they're evil. That's why there's quests to eliminate a bunch of them. But what if monsters weren't different than the rest of us? You know, is this morally reprehensible what we're doing, slaying all the monsters? So you can think that there might be some more social implications to consider. That there might be a message that they're talking about with this arc of it. But yeah, this is a lot better of a start to the season than last season, where like Ares is being a jerk to everybody, and there's like this battle that nobody cares about. And I dropped Donmachi last season and had to pick it up. Uh, Finally, number one, Kadachi to Shimamura. So I mentioned this briefly offline. By briefly, I mean at absolute length. So I'll try to keep it succinct and not talk for like 5 minutes. So the series starts with a young woman that finds another lady friend off cutting class and doing delinquent stuff. And the show kind of follows their actions and the development of their friendship. And the show both sticks in their head and covers all their monologues so they can talk about their feelings internally, and also, you know, their actual interaction out with all the characters and all things like that. And so we get to see how the feelings between female A and female B kind of develop into something a little more than friendship, potentially. We'll see as the show progresses. But the people that have read the source material say that it's kind of a slow burn for them to understand, you know, what are emotions? What do feelings actually mean to them? And for me, it's rated number one just because all the interactions between the characters, both physically and in their heads, they feel natural, and they feel like they're between real people. They're relatable, regardless of, you know, gender or orientation. You know, there's probably an underlying statement to be made here about equality, and but, you know, of course it's relatable. It's a romance show, and its relatability is what keeps the audience coming back each week. So far, hats off to Adachi Toshimamura. Side notes, And in No Shobutai, yeah, Fire Force is back. I'm not gonna be watching it. Um, Studio David makes really pretty things, but I did walk away after last season during the Talking Chinese Mainland Fire Lemur arc. I just couldn't do it anymore. Noblesse, I wanted to watch this because it was the third Webtoons adaptation, but I didn't know that you needed to watch the OVA prior to watching the actual series, or you were going to be super confused. So I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet. Maybe one of these days. And Burn the Witch. I hear this is good, despite my outspoken concern over it taking place somewhere called Reverse London, but it's definitely on my to-watch list. And finally, the Kimetsu no Yaiba movie. I wanted to see this in theaters, but you know. But as soon as I can on some kind of platform, I'm gonna watch it.